let me show you a couple of things. So the first round for me was a really clear example of what Joanna should do if she wants to win this fight over the distance. She just needs to stick to it over the distance and not get drawn in. And what we always see from Joanna, especially from this camera angle, we usually see that little evil grin on her face. Sometimes she's enjoying herself a little bit too much. And if she wants a win here against Weili, she needs to keep it tactical and professional. If she gets drawn in, then she's up against the firepower of Weili, and I don't feel like that's a game that she can match. If she is closing Weili down, she's at risk of power punches, she's at risk of getting clinched and kneed. And of course, Joanna's going to have good clinch as well. But I would say that she's far more likely to have success if she's invested in clinch elbows instead of clinch knees. So let's just have a quick look at this. So the way this started off was Joanna being on the outside and just not being there to be hit. She was letting Weili go first and then she was countering. And this is another thing that comes to discipline, because Joanna does get a little bit impatient. You know, if the fight slowed down a bit, she'll quite happily initiate an attack, but that's where she was coming off worse. In the opening, what we saw was Joanna countering and moving, slips away, forces Weili to come back to her. And this patient game here where she's just tempted, I mean, this is where she was landing her best shots. You can see it's Weili that goes for that inside kick as she sees that lead leg move. So, of course, Joanna's initiated this with that step, but she's done it in a very safe way. And then she's stepping in hard with that 1-2. It was when she was going first, she was getting countered. If she was allowing Weili to initiate the attack, she's quick enough and technical enough to capitalize on it. I mean, we saw this quite a lot through the first round. There's a few really good examples of it. Look, just see how she just moves that hip out the way. That's a lot like Rose. Just moves out the way. Anything that she can do where she's making Weili miss and she can step in and counter. Look, long arms and legs. She gets out of the way of that kick as Weili's resetting her feet. Because what you've got to bear in mind, as Weili's throwing this kick, she's going around, but it's not stopping on the inside of the leg. It's not hitting here and then bouncing back for her to re-establish. She's throwing and going entirely past, which means that she has to hit the brakes. That's the point as the kick's passing the leg, where all of a sudden Weili's now having to hit the brakes, and you can see how she's using her upper body to try and control that twist and pull it back. Look how it twists her feet. It's a very uncomfortable thing when you miss a kick. This is a lot of time when Thai boxers are shadowboxing, they'll just spin all the way through with the kick. You can't really do it in MMA unless you're really quick about it, because someone will close you down and attack you. And even with Weili trying to reset her feet here, we saw Joanna step in and sting that lead leg. Like, anytime she can win it and then out of the way again, look for the recoil. Anytime she can win those exchanges in that way, you know, get her to go first, counter and then be gone, or sting her and move and not be there for the counter shot, they're the times when Joanna's she's gonna look like she's the better striker in there. It's when she's stepping into Weili's range when it becomes really problematic for her, and when she's getting a bit, you know, she's at southpaw here. Checks the lead leg, counter return, lovely work. Lets Weili go first. Check, counter, gone. Love it. I mean, that is the way to go. If you're Joanna, this clip here is everything about your game plan. Check, counter, gone for the counters, not there. Like, accumulate points. You know, it's not it's not the kind of fight that she always wants to be in, because she loves a fight of the year candidate. You know, and she's delivered so many of them to us that she doesn't really need to in this one. The most important thing is her picking up a win. I mean, the last time Joanna was in the octagon was against Weili, and I mean, what's that? 2020. You're looking at 2 years out. It's going to be a bit of a wake-up call for her if she goes in there in that first round and starts to throw down hard with Weili, because, you know, she's been out there for a couple of years, and she's only going to get better. She's only going to get better. If you look at the times when Joanna's lost, it's because she's become a bit overzealous. She couldn't out-technique Shevchenko. With Rose, I mean, obviously she got caught in the first fight, but she got out-techniqued in the second fight. Then you go back to the Jessica Andrade fight, and she had respect for the power of Andrade. She didn't go crashing forward. She didn't try and trade shots with Andrade. She knew that she was immensely powerful, so she gave her that respect and gave her that space. I mean, she did get caught in the first round, but still, she managed to score a comfortable unanimous decision by being the better technical striker. And of course, Andrade is not the same kind of fighter that Weili is, but the principle can still be the same. It's going to be a slightly more technical challenge, of course, but if she's able to, in and out of range, force Weili to miss as much as possible, making her reach as much as possible, trying to counter and go second instead of first, then that's when Joanna's reach and speed and volume come into play. As the fight progressed, so now we get into the second round, this is where it started to change, because now Joanna's, you can see she's heavier on this front foot. You can see her a little bit more weighted, a little bit more like come and get it. and that's exactly what happens. I mean, Weili does. Weili starts to capitalize here. Look how much closer she is. Steps in first, bang, bang. Straight, clean right on the chin. Just touched her with the lead hand. Power shot. Now, this is the range that you don't want to be tangling at with Weili. And this is what Joanna found out in this second round. But after the first round, she was never able to get that discipline back. It's like once that discipline's gone, her ability to gather herself and to rally and to go, hang on a minute, let me sit down on my stool. That second round was terrible. I need to be more technical, more faster, more difficult to hit. We didn't see that in this first fight. And this is really the challenge for Joanna, especially with her being out for a period of time. It's easier to control yourself if it's a familiar environment that you've been in recently. If it's been a while, there's excitement, there's adrenaline, there's anxiety, there's the concern that you lost a split decision to this person in the past. You don't want to drop another decision to this person, or even worse, get stopped, because that's 2 losses to Rose. That'd be 2 losses to Weili as well. It's just not. It's not a position that she wants to put herself in. She needs to be really, really smart. After this right hand, you can see, it was a good ping on the chin, right, that is. And then you see Joanna kind of backing up, and there's the smile. Like, she knows she's been clipped here, and she gets on her bike, and she moves well. Like, she stays out of the way, but now it's at the point where Weili is confident that if she's in that close range, that she's going to be able to land damaging shots on Joanna. So she's now starting to really push forward. Lovely hop sidekick, like teep to the chest, out of the way, chases her back against the thing. And again, good movement, but good movement because Joanna's got respect for her because she's just been hit with a big shot. Not because that's their game plan, but because it needs to be to recover from the big shot. So different mentality. Again, stepping in. Like, watch the fight back yourself. Sit and watch it. You'll enjoy it. It's a good 25-minute fight. You'll never get sick of watching it because there's always something good to notice. But pay attention to one thing. When Joanna's going first, she's getting countered and hurt. When she's waiting for Weili to go first, she's able to land her own counters and get out of the way before anything comes back. She's been hit with the right hand. She's moved away. She's gathered herself a little bit. Weili stepped in with a hop side kick, stomped her in the chest. Then she's followed up with a couple of shots that fell short. Joanna circles herself back, and then she decides she's going to attack because that's her mentality. She's a fighter. She's got a warrior spirit. So she steps in, misses that shot, jab falls short. She nearly gets clubbed on the side of the head with that right hand again, but she dips her head, and then she finds herself in a clinch. And this, again, is another place that she doesn't want to be. We saw how dangerous Weili can be in this position against Andrade. Joanna's, she's got plenty of Muay Thai experience. She knows this position, but to stand and trade knees with Weili gives Weili that upper body strength and that power. This is the benefit in being slightly shorter, slightly more compact. She gets more muscle mass on her frame, which makes her more dangerous on the inside. If I'm Joanna in this scenario, I am using those elbows that she did so much damage to Jessica Penne with. You think about Angela Hill. She's always the example I use because she was a prolific decision maker, and then she added elbows to her game and started really damaging people. And this is where, it doesn't matter whether you're a power puncher or not. You can't avoid getting damaged by those sharp elbows. You know, you crack somebody with that, that is a very small amount of tissue getting sandwiched between two bones. Some damage is going to happen. You're going to get rocked. And because they're short range shots, and because Joanna's taller, she's going to be able to crack Weili with those as she's reaching for the clinch. So again, it requires discipline, but she can do it. And then this is where Weili really becomes a better mixed martial artist overall, because she grabs the tie clinch here, as you can see. She throws a knee, which lands in the midsection, and then as Joanna steps forward, she hooks her leg. Beautiful work. Hook. And circles her to the floor. All of these moments, anytime Joanna's tangling up here, and look how she's engaged in this clinch. She's got that arm. She's locked in. She's opted to tie clinch with her, which I just don't think is a good idea for her. Because anytime you get close to Weili, anytime your hips close to Weili, then we're going to see this kind of stuff. That hook on the inside of the leg, and a twist and a pull, and then Weili's on the floor. And of course, Joanna scrambles back up. But these moments here, these are eerie moments where she doesn't really want to be. She's expending energy, she's expending strength that she doesn't want to exchange with. If she's smarter in these situations, she can avoid a lot of this. She wants Weili to be reaching for takedowns. She wants to be shooting for takedowns or reaching for that body clinch. That's when she can start to work. And, she does get out of space, and she gets some space, she gets clear. But then what does she do? I'm going to get you back. I'm going to get you back. So then she comes crashing in. Again, Joanna going first. She goes first. Frame with the lead hand. Nice right hand on the end of it. Frame, bang. Again, she just keeps going first. She goes first again. And then she's going to come crashing forward. And this is where the clash of heads is. Oh, it's lovely, a little kick. So she switches back to southpaw here. I don't know whether this was something that had been studied and learned by Rose from this fight about this opening here, because it's a very similar circumstance. The only difference is that Joanna's standing southpaw instead of orthodox. But Weili goes for a kick. You can see her just setting up from this camera angle. Places this foot. She's swinging this leg onto the inside of Joanna's. But as she does, Joanna fires a rear kick and catches her right in the side of the face. I mean, honestly, like when she allows herself to sit back and counter, she's dangerous. But if she plays the strike for strike game with Weili, she's just underpowered. And I don't think that's going to change from that fight to this. I feel like, if anything, Weili is going to be stronger and more imposing in these circumstances. Like she's going to know where she came off better and where she lost moments in this fight. And I expect Weili to come in with a very calculated chess mind and be like, right, this is how I need to fight to beat this individual. On the other side with Joanna, I kind of feel like she's going to come in and go, okay, this is the game plan that I need, but then that goes out the window when she starts mixing up strikes, especially when she's been tagged a couple of times. If we see her playing this game and having respect for Weili all the way through the fight, instead of trying to war with her at times, then we're going to see that performance where she is in and out, stinging, moving, looking very, very elusive and very technical. Switching to southpaw and using that left leg seems to be something that was very comfortable for her. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her switching stance a bit more, even if it's just to give Weili a bit more to think about. Anyway, lands that kick. Here we go. Here's the clash of heads. Look how she sprints forward. I mean, that's like a rhino charge, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like she's going in for the kill there. But these are the moments where she gets reckless, where she gets excited, especially because she just landed that kick. Ping, sprint forward, and that's where the clash of heads comes. Bang! Look at that. And you know what's interesting as well is if you watch Joanna against Andrade, and there's 3 years, over 3 years in between those two fights, she gets a good lump on her forehead there. That might be something it might be something that triggers swelling quicker because there's already been damage there from that fight. But the swelling that was caused from this, the way that it grew over these next 3 rounds was crazy. And then the moments where you see Weili punch her and it's like she's hitting an aqua bag and it's just going blah, blah, blah. Don't want to see that again. Jamie's going. But this is what started it off. You know, there was good striking from Weili, but this was the thing that started the swelling off. Full clash of heads. Bang! And then Joanna runs her into a tie clinch. Lands a good knee there, but again, I feel like she'd have been better if imagine if she'd have been leading with her elbows in that scenario, and they haven't come head to head. She'd have hit with a point of an elbow first. Could be a very, very different fight. But any time she's there, she just don't want to be tangling up with Weili. You know, even here, right at the end of the round, she's not having a great time with this exchange, and Weili's not got an ideal position here. She's not got any underhook at all. That's Weili's arm across the body. She's in a very awkward position. It looks like Joanna's got a grab of her sports bra as well, to be honest. But still, like the power of Weili, she's able to kick that leg out and destabilize Joanna and put her down. And again, it's that hook around the leg. These are the moments where as the fight closes together, where Joanna's not going to have that beautiful sprawl that she used against Carla Esparza. Like, Esparza comes in with wrestling. Weili's coming in with reaps and trips. Another thing that is problematic for Joanna, because she's overly aggressive sometimes. She closes into range. When hips come together, legs are there to be tangled up and taken down. Again, comes down to discipline, because these things are second nature for Weili. She's so good at tripping and reaping. And once you're on the floor, again, you know, the scramble starts. She might be able to jump on her neck, take her back, sink in a rear naked choke. Or if she's able to, pacify Joanna on the floor and hold her there and stabilize that position for a moment, then she can start setting up those arm bars, and you know, she can get them from anywhere, mount, guard, doesn't matter. That she's always going to be a threat with those submissions. So again, simple game plan for Joanna: don't get tangled up, don't get too close to her. Here's the kick. Oh, look at this. I mean, look at that. That could have been a fight-ending kick.